Never used a microphone. It feels special. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sandy Nibble. If you don't know who I am, I work on the Med-Surg unit. I'm one of the part-time clinical coordinators. Well, actually, there's only one part-time. I'm the part-time coordinator. And Sally and I are going to present along with Linda Koziel and Joan Tucker. This is meant to be very interactive, and so we want everyone to feel very relaxed and feel free to interact with us when we go through this. This is Aging Awareness, and I want to just talk to you a little bit about what Niche is. If you didn't know, we're a niche hospital. And Niche is Nurses Improving Care for Health System Elders. Niche is a national organization which has been involved in the development of research-based care for older adults. Niche is based at NYU with grants from the Hartford Foundation. And Chelsea Hospital has been a niche hospital since 2006. We were the first St. Joe system to be a niche hospital, and we're very proud of that. We were only one of 2 niche hospitals in Trinity when we joined that system. Niche began with nurses recognizing the elder care was a specialty just like pediatrics. And it's grown into a worldwide organization which researches the best care practices for elders. Niche also recognized that it isn't just nurses who can change the outcomes for our older patients, but everyone they come in contact with during their stay at the hospital. Niche is important to us at CCH because of our patient demographics. 60% of our hospitalized patients are over 65 years old. Our community has a high population of elders, and that continues to grow. Our mission is to serve the community, treating every patient every time with respect and allow CCH to achieve great patient outcomes and maintain our high patient satisfaction scores. The Niche Committee at CCH has about 10 members, and those, Joanne Grosh, who is the Director of Senior Services for Trinity Health, and Sally Flack, who is the coordinator on West Med-Surg, are our leaders. And the rest of the group is Dina Crawford, Pat Parr, Linda Koziel, Lynn Kieser, Karen Hutchins, Joan Tucker, Elaine Yegelik, and Dr. Larson was our physician champion, but now that she's gone, we need to look for another hospitalist or physician be our champion. So that we'll let you know when we get one again. Some of the things that our Niche Committee has accomplished at Chelsea Hospital are it provided educational offering on elder care to RNs and aides from Chelsea Hospital, Silver Maples, and CRC. We've developed a delirium prevention program, which many of the St. Joe's hospitals have duplicated. We're working on the development of a GRN, geriatric resource nurse model, and we want to have nurses specially trained to be the resource on the nursing units for other staff. We have a niche newsletter written each month. Linda's written a lot of them, but there's different ones. Joan's written them, Sally's written them, Joanne Grosh has written some. I think almost everyone but me has written And when Linda, different ones write, they write about different topics pertinent to care of the older generation, and that's sent out as a newsletter through email for everyone to read. Now, our Aging Awareness In-Service came to Chelsea Hospital when Sally and I visited St. Mary's in Livonia in 2012 because their niche leader, Carrie Hayes, does a simulation lab on aging awareness for all of their new employees. So whether it's physicians, correct Sally, or housekeeping, or whoever is hired in goes through this simulation lab. And Sally and I walked away from there just blown away, and we have been ever since. And we wanted to bring this here to Chelsea Hospital. And at the time, Deb Casey-Rivard was our director, and we got together with her and Pat Parr, and we asked them, could we do that? So last year consisted of after every nurse, help me out here, Education Day, thank you. Word finding as I get older. We had a simulation lab and went through the same things that we're going through now. So then we wanted to bring it to some other folks, such as PT, OT, and housekeeping and dietary, and that's what our goal is for this year, for 2014. So that's niche in a nutshell. Now let Sally talk with you about aging awareness.
I'm just going to go through sorry for the voice, but I'm just going to go through a few normal aging kinds of scenarios that we'll see with our older adults, and some of us I know are already experiencing some of these things ourselves. But normal aging really isn't for the weak of heart. Lots of changes happen normally to us. We dry out. 80% of our body is water in our youth. By the time we age, it's only 60%. So that's why you see wrinkles and you know, things are harder to pick up and things. We get dry. We lose elasticity in all of our tissues. Everything gets stiffer. We have bone loss. That's, you know, why we see our older adults having more fractures. We have a lower heart rate, exercise intolerance because of the lower heart rate. We lose our sense of taste, so that's why sometimes you'll see your seniors not really nourished very well because things don't taste as good, so they don't, you know, why bother eating if it doesn't taste good. Normal thought process is slow, and certainly dementia is not a normal part of aging, but you do slow your thought processes. And I've noticed that a lot with my mom and my father-in-law as I'm doing things with them. I take them to a restaurant, and it takes them a long time to figure out what they want to eat. So it just takes a little bit longer, and we have to be aware that they don't process as quickly as we do as we're going through our lives. It can be harder for them to learn. That's not to say that they can't learn, they certainly can, but it takes longer, and part of it's that slow processing. They need a lot of repetition, and they need you to go slow enough so they can assimilate what you're telling them. That's particularly important when we're teaching things that are unfamiliar to them, like the stuff we teach them here, like how to transfer differently than they're used to, or how to do things in speech, or for us as nurses, how to take their new medications, or what their new medications are for. Skin becomes thinner, so that's where we see the skin tears, a lot of wounds that we see with the patients. Vision declines. It's harder to read poor light, and I certainly can attest to that as I've aged. I have to put my glasses on and I have to turn a light on, and it's like, wow, I'm getting old. Hearing declines, especially for high pitches. And a lot of people have problems hearing female voices, which is again a problem for us as we're educating our patients. That if they have those problems, most of us are females, and so that even adds to their ability to understand us. The body has a hard time excreting chemicals, so when we give them medications and things, it takes longer for those to clear those medications. So that's why you'll see sometimes they'll have a sleeper at night, and the next day you can't wake them up for anything, where, you know, a regular adult would be fine in the morning. So it just takes longer for those to clear those medications. And then we become shorter, we get wider hips, longer noses, and bigger ears. Yay! And then there's age spots in hair in places you really don't want hair. So, and less hair where you do. So, such as aging as we get older. So we have a short little video here we want to show you. It's actually based in a nursing home, and it's really touching, and I will tell you right up front that I cry every time I see it. I've seen it probably 50 times, and I cry every time I see it. Some of you may have seen it, but it's really touching, and it really, to me, brings through what we should be doing as we're working with our elders. So we'll, without further ado, I'll show it.
Go up to the word start and see at the top.
Where?
Up
Oh.
to C maybe?
Maybe. See? Oh. Oh, yeah. This never fails. I'll tell you what. Every time we have problems.
So true.
I know. Maybe sometimes, usually if you push it.
How about double click start?
Hey, yeah. That's the volume. It's volume. I was just thinking, yeah, I was just thinking. No. I wonder if you can start it.
Does not give you options.
Oh, there you go. There we go.
Now maybe that's start.
Where's start?
That
The-
word
up on
start below C.
That's right.
Very good video. It takes a minute for the sound to come in, so we okay.
Usually volume by now, and of course.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. No.
Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing to win them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we ended heartache and the thousand natural shocks the flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die. To sleep perchance.
Do ya hear them? Be my wife, hold me like this. All our life,
What do you see, nurse? What do you see? Are you thinking, when you're looking at me, a crabby old woman, not very wise, with uncertain habits and faraway eyes, who dribbles her food and makes no reply when you say in a loud voice, I wish you would try, who seems not to notice the things that you do, forever losing a stocking or shoe, who, resisting or not, lets you do as you will with bathing or feeding. Long day to fill. Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you see? Then open your eyes. You're not looking at me. I'll tell who I am as I sit here so still, as I do your bidding and eat at your will. I'm a young child of 10 with a father and mother and sisters and brothers who love one another. I'm a girl of 16 with wings on her feet, dreaming that soon now her lover she'll meet. At 20, a bride. Oh, my heart takes a leap. Remember the vows that I promised to keep. At 25, now I have young of my own who need me to build a secure, happy home. A woman of 30, my young grows so fast, bound to each other with ties that should last. At 40, my young sons are grown and now gone. My man is beside me to see I don't mourn. At 50, once more babies play around my knee, and again we know children, my loved one and me. Dark days are upon me. My husband is dead. I look at the future. I shudder with dread, for my young are all busy, young of their own. And I think of the years and the love I have known. I'm an old woman now, and nature is cruel. It's her jest to make old age look like a fool. The body, it crumbles. Grace and vigor depart. There now is a stone where once was a heart. But inside this old body, a young girl still dwells. And now and again my battered heart swells. I remember the joys, I remember the pain. And I'm loving and living life over again. I remember the years, oh, too few, gone too fast, and accept the stark fact that nothing will last. So, open your eyes, nurse. Open and see. Not a crabby old woman. Look closer. See me.
Very moving, isn't it? Yeah. Every time I see it, it makes me want to cry, depending on how I'm feeling that day. Sally too, I think. What were some of the things that you noticed in that video? I, for one, thought the lady needed to be pulled up higher to eat that oatmeal with you. I'm like, wow. Anything else, like the turning the picture of her family away from her, you know, so many times, so little things, little to us, but you know, so important to patients to have things by them that are things that are so meaningful to them.
And maybe spending a minute, you know, she reaches out her hand nurse kind of takes it and then just directs it right to the spoon. She could have spent a minute just maybe talking
Yes.
to her, or just holding her hand for a minute or something before she put it right on the spoon.
Yeah.
You know,
Giving
I,
her-
I find that at this point, we really talk about engagement, and when you come and you meet your patient to do something with, it's nice to spend a minute looking at them in their eyes and, you know, asking them about themselves. And I know therapies are very good at asking them questions about function, but, you know, what do you do in your life? It's always so interesting. They have such great tales to tell, you know. And I can remember working in the middle of the night with, you know, a confused patient, kept getting out of bed. He had to go to work, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So I started asking him, well, what do you do for a living? And then we talked about work and whatnot, and I redirected him. I go, well, you know what, I'll wake you up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go to work. And he went back to sleep. And so it was, you know, I worked with him, kind of letting him talk about his life a little bit, and I got to understand what motivated him to be getting out of bed in the morning or getting out of bed in the middle of the night. But,
And sometimes it's that they're a midnight worker to begin with, you know.
yeah, right. You don't know that part.
Well, I think it's just so important that we think beyond what we're seeing in front of us. You know, we put some television sometime in doing our job and what we need to do with them at the moment. And we really need to look beyond that and you know, try to understand what they're coming from and what, you know, what their life is meant to them. I mean, they're not just the person we're seeing in front of us. And so that I think we need to remember that.
It's one of the things that I like to do is to find out at least one thing about that patient that I didn't know before I walked in that room. I make them a person to me, because when they're a person to me, I feel like I give better care, because then I kind of, like Joan said, I kind of bought into that person, or found out, you know, made myself available to them, you know, made them real to me, not just these are that person's pills, that's that diagnosis, that's that diagnosis, you know. So.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Yeah. What we'll do is I think we can take 8 people at a time. 2 people will get people ready, so 2 people will go through at a time in each room. So if we just count off.
She's kind of broken.
I've had them broken
Oh,
up.
you got it.
Sorry,
Oh,
yeah. So actually, so speech, we'll go ahead and do the niche experience first. OTs can stay here, we'll do the pulse ox, and then PTs are gonna head to the hallway, yep, do the gate speed. Okay. Just be back, just be back here at 9:30. I know we're that short on time. Yeah.
No, we get stuff.